Howdy, soldiers. Now that I am 26 and have one foot in the grave, I've been reflecting on my life thus far. Along with this self-reflection, I've been seeing a lot of childhood nostalgia coming up specifically on book TikTok because this new generation of people is discovering all these classic YA novels that I read when I was 16 years old and absolutely loved. So, as my brain is wont to do, I laser focused in on just that thing and went on a deep dive on Goodreads to see all the books that came out a decade ago. And I found some amazing memories, so I will leave that list down below as well if any of you want to check it out. And I thought it would be really fun to do a what I read 10 years ago video. Let's see, 10 years ago. So that would have been 2011. I would have been 16, having just gone into grade 11. My hair was down to like here and always in a frizzy high ponytail. That's when I joined a theater class, started modeling, and got my first boyfriend who emotionally manipulated me. It was also at the peak of my horseback riding career, and when I got my first part-time job at a clothing store where the manager hated me and skimped me on multiple paychecks. It was also the year that I joined Wattpad, and oh my god, that was maybe the most brilliant segue. Oh, what a beautiful Wattpad mug. I bet you're wondering where I got it and if you can get one as well. Well, yes, you can! 16-year-old me would be flipping her mind right now, knowing that I am now working with Wattpad. I'm on their PR list as a book blogger, and they sent me a box full of their new limited edition merch that is launching today when this video goes up. I'm doing a small giveaway on my TikTok for, so I will link that down below and you can go check that out. They have pennants and pins and mugs and stickers and a bunch of other stuff, so you can check Wattpad out down below. This is not sponsored, but I guess it's in partnership. Wattpad was such a big part of my life when I was 16 and 17. That's when I started writing, and I finished my first book on there when I was 18, and so like it just has a special place in my heart, and the fact that like I'm working with them now is really, really exciting. Also, I made this coffee too long ago, and now it's cold, but guess that's just low-budget iced coffee. So, without further ado, let's get into the books. 2011 was the height of dystopians, insta-loves, and bad boy love interests. I mean, looking back on it, it wasn't great, but like, you had what you had, and you read it all. The one that threw me for a loop was 2011 was the year that City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare came out, and this was my cultural reset. This is the fourth of the Mortal Instruments series, which at the time was just pitched as a trilogy, and I remember having so many conflicting feelings when this came out. I thought the plot was super weird because she had kind of already wrapped it up in City of Glass. To be fair, one of the plot threads actually became one of my favorites, but this whole, like, angel demon thing was a little bit kind of haphazardly put in there. So this was the book that made me doubt my love for Cassandra Clare. However, the next book, which is City of Lost Souls, that was one of my favorite books in this series, so it kind of redeemed it, but it's just fun looking back on this. And the other Cassandra Clare book that came out that year was Clockwork Prince, which is the sequel to Clockwork Angel, and I will say the Clockwork series, The Infernal Devices, is my favorite Cassandra Clare series. This 1870s London with steampunk and magic and monsters, and I love that. I love these characters so much. I remember the cliffhanger at the end of this, like, throwing the book, being so distraught. Oh girl, if you had known what was coming at the end of Clockwork Princess, you would have not freaked out so much over this book. I'll say it, this is still one of my all-time favorite sequels. Gem is a gem, and Will is a Victorian snack. And this was the book that solidified my want for a sword cane before Kaz made it cool. Now, also going through this list, I realized that I don't have a lot of these books anymore. I think I've had most of them at some point, but I've given them away or donated them. That's all part of growing up. I loved seeing the ones that I still do have. I'm like, oh my god, I got that a decade ago. How old am I? What year is it? But I also think that the ones that I don't have anymore, I got rid of for a good reason. First of all, I want to talk about the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. OG fans of this channel know that this is a series that I love to hate because it is so bad. This is also one of the OG fairy books that I love. The reason I read this entire series is because this plot is a banger and a half. This is about the most annoying, boring, whiny-ass white girl named Megan, who finds out that she is heir to a fairy kingdom, and once her brother goes missing, she has to go into fairy to find him, and then, oh my god, we have the boy next door who's actually a fairy, and then we have the tantalizing fairy prince. But what Julie Kagawa did is that she brought in technology, and oh my god, that is a splice that I will never forget, and haven't read anything like it since. In fairy lore, iron is usually what stops fairies, so the fact that she's bringing in using technology as something that people worship almost, and the way that some of the fairies are trying to adapt by like putting wiring in their skin, which is also slowly killing them because it's not natural to fae. We have this whole war between the naturals and the iron fae, and like Megan's the only person who can bring the worlds together. So like super cool, almost steampunk fantasy technology matrix world. But I hate this character with a burning passion. The writing is not good. Like, it wasn't good in 2011 and it's not any better now. I really like Julie Kagawa's later work. I think her Shadow of the Fox series is really good, but this let's talk about a book now that I still have my original copy from 2011, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. 2011 was also the peak of angels and demon books, which is something that we will see again later in this video. To this day, Laini Taylor is one of my all-time favorite authors. The way that she writes her prose is so beautiful. Her worlds are so imaginative and engaging, while also being sweet and whimsical but holding really dark themes. To summarize this entire series, once upon a time, an angel and a devil fell in love. It did not end well. This is about a girl named Karu with blue hair who ends up being like a resurrected, reborn version of this demon, but she's human, but she's not, but then she lives with other demons who were like trying to resurrect their armies to fight these angel warriors. I think Akiva is one of the OG brooding male love interests that actually is like not a terrible person. I mean, yeah, he's a little dramatic, but like he's head of an army and trying to stake off some demon warriors while also trying to get his deer-legged girlfriend back. I also credit this as my introduction into teeth magic and bone magic, because there is a big plotline in here that has to do with beads and bones and wishes. Like still stirs something in my heart. And as you can see, I have carried my love for bone magic into this next decade. I need to reread this again. It's been too long. Back to dystopians we go. And it also appears that 2011 was a year of sequels, so we are going to talk about the snooze fest of a sequel that I literally don't even remember the title of this. Oh my god, it's by Ali Condi. Frost, the sequel to Matched. Oh dear god. I'll give her that Matched was a really cool dystopian world. Everyone's in one city where there are only a certain amount of things that people can enjoy. I think there's only 100 songs and 100 pieces of art, and all the young people in the city don't date, but they are matched with somebody, and then, oh my goodness, who are we matched with? Maybe it was a mistake. Blah blah blah, we need more art. Blah blah blah, running around in pretty dresses. Blah blah blah, government rebellion. Literally, this sequel was 2 characters running around in canyons. And that's it. And then the third book was just a plague that like had no previous build-up. I just remember being so disappointed and weirded out by the third one. This series was like whoop, and then was like it just fully tanked itself. Now that I think about it, there's another series that I think did that, and that is the Chemical Garden trilogy, starting off with Wither by whatever's up on the screen right now. Lauren DeStefano. Okay, I am a bad book blogger. I wrote all of these down, but my memory is just shot today for some reason. Perhaps some more caffeine can revive it. Oh my god, this first book I obsessed over. Again, a very unique type of dystopian world where it was already past the dystopia, where a particular sickness or virus makes it so that everybody over the age of 20 if you're a girl and 25 if you're a boy dies. So the only 2 groups of people are the under 25s and the like 60 pluses, who are mostly scientists trying to figure out how to stop this disease from occurring again. And our main characters are brides to this rich man's son, who are basically there to have children, but it's kind of in this gothic yet technological mansion. And there's a lot of stuff about how the world's gone to trash and like rights to your own body, ethics of medicine, ethics of science, messing around too much with genetics. And of course our characters are trying to escape, yet some of them don't want to because they're gonna die soon anyway. And it's this really, like, once I like looking back on this, I'm like, oh damn, this is dark as hell. But yet again, this series tanked itself with the second and the third one. Like, I think they're in a circus at some point. So while this series isn't in like my top 5 or anything, you know, I've seen worse. We are still on dystopian. Let's talk about the one that I've actually kept for this long, and that is Legend by Marie Lu. This is very beloved by all. I'm very happy that this still holds up. This is more of a military dystopian, I guess, with our main character June being part of the military, and then our other character Day, who is a thief And also there's a plague, I just remembered. What was with the dystopian plagues in 2011, my god. My girl June was a OG badass female character who was kicking ass and taking names and figuring out stuff for herself. She was awesome. And I remember Day being smart and sharp and resourceful and just this really cool guy who's like, you know, you shouldn't have a crush on because like, maybe he's a criminal, but he could probably flirt his way out of a jail cell, and I'd probably let him. This is one of those classic, oh my god, the government's been keeping things from us all along, and then two teenagers need to start a rebellion to take down the evil government. Revenge, freedom. This is an example of how in 2011 the publishing industry was just starting to be more inclusive. Our main characters are both of color, which is great, and this is also the series that gave us Champion, which I'm sure for a lot of people, it was one of the first ends to series that we all cried our eyes out over. Thank you, Marie Lou, for giving me this trauma. And back to another book that I do not have a physical copy of. You know, Michelle Hodkin, I have thoughts, I have feelings, and I have concerns over the fact that Mara Dyer exists. When I was looking on the Goodreads site, and I scrolled down to the comments section, so many people love this book, including some of my most respected authors, and now I'm like, are y'all okay? Because I remember hating this book. I know a lot of people really liked it, and I specifically remember a lot of people liked it because of our main love interest, who I'm pretty sure is named Noah, who is one of the original tall, dark, broody, handsome bad boys with a leather jacket. Did he have a motorcycle? I feel like he would have one. I remember being very off-put when I first read this, and now looking back on it as a 26-year-old, I'm like, Mara, girl, what are you doing? Get your shit together. Find a boyfriend who doesn't put you in danger and like actually respects you. Oh my god, I'm too old for this. I think this is one of the first YA psychological thrillers, and there is still a scene from this that is burned into my memory where Mara she gets home and she feels like she's going crazy because all these things are not quite adding up. And she steps into the hallway and she specifically says that the doors and the picture frames have switched sides. And like, oh my god, I just got shivers thinking about that again. Like, oh, okay, I have to give it to her. Gotta give it to Michelle Hodkin. That was a good line. I haven't seen as many people try and revamp this series on like TikTok or BookTube or anything, which, thank god. So I will say right now, I would like to make a pact with all of you out there that we can leave this in 2011. And lastly, is the Fist of Excitement. Is the series that I probably hate the most, which is why I've left it to the end of this video, because I'm gonna get real screechy. The series that made me so angry that released in 2011 is Angel Burn by L.A. Weatherly. This is another instance of the plot being so good and the writing being so bad. This is the kind of angelic dystopia that I want to read to this day, where angels are these beings that have come from another dimension to feed on the ether of our world, and there are people called angel killers who are specifically meant to kill them, and there are these mega churches popping up all over the United States because when an angel comes and feeds on a human's energy, they get something called angel burn, which makes the human love the angel even though they're killing them. And our main two characters are an angel killer and a half angel girl, and he almost kills her but he doesn't, and then they have to go on the run and they fall in love. I still feel like I had my heart ripped out, thrown on the floor, and then stomped on with a tall 8-inch stiletto boot. I'm so mad that this series was bad because it was the worst insta-love I have ever read. I need to practice my breathing techniques. Also, I find it very funny that this was supposed to be a trilogy, but then they never released the third one because the second one was even worse somehow than the first one. And I love that they just gave up. It was insta-lovey in a way that wasn't even acceptable in 2011. The character development was all over the place. She skipped right past the citation needed and just went straight to the Chegg.com copy-paste. While demons, I think, are still a bit of a topical monster in a lot of fantasy novels, I know angels have kind of fallen off the wayside. Fallen. Fallen! Oh my god, double jokes. That is a plot line that I absolutely want to read. Well done. So if anybody has any like demony, a fallen angel things that are not just like straight up paranormals banging, let me know because I would love to read that. So there you have it. There are a bunch of books that I read 10 years ago. 2011 both feels like 6 years ago and 50 years ago. Kind of like how I still consider the 90s to be 10 years ago, even though I did all of my cognitive development in the 2000s. Like, I was fully there, and maybe, I guess, not present if I don't remember very much of it. I guess I wasn't very cognizant for any of it. I was from like 2002 to 2006, it was just me trading fruit roll-ups for lunchtime and trying not to be picked last for that game of kickball at recess. And then in high school, it was just me trying to remember what the hell my locker combination was after forgetting it after spring break, having weird hang-ups about wearing jeans to school, and reading all of these. I was busy. Please leave down below some of your favorite books that you remember reading from a decade ago. What did you read in 2011? What did you read in 2012? What did you read in whatever year that you're watching this video in? I'm also currently taking a children's literature course, so I'm thinking a lot about what I read during my childhood, though as a young adult book blogger, I definitely have a more distinct connection with all of the YA that I read, and I think I started that at like 12, so I've been reading YA for a very long time. I'm old, I'm ancient, but you are never too old for children's literature, and that is the only conclusion that I have. You know where to click like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!